Part 4, Intercultural Competence and Citizenship. Let's go back to the Oxford University Press Global Skills for ELT teachers. Intercultural competence is concerned with the skills needed to interact appropriately and sensitively with people from diverse cultural backgrounds. And that's an increasing situation in Taiwan, where we see that in our schools now, not everyone is born a Mandarin or Taiwanese speaker. The notion of citizenship typically addresses both the local and the global, focusing on social responsibility. It often includes an awareness and respect for cultural diversity, which makes it complementary to intercultural competence. So you can see how our clusters work there, how intercultural competence and citizenship are natural partners. Here you can see the learner profile from the Oxford University Press position paper on global skills. So take a read of this, press the pause button, and when you're ready, we'll continue. Let's look at intercultural competence in language learning and teaching. For me, learning about a culture is a very, very natural part of learning any language. So this is a quote from experts in Australia, Lidicote and Scarino. Knowledge of cultures is important for facilitating communication with people. Therefore, learners of languages need to learn about and understand cultures. So that's pretty basic, you know. If you want to communicate well in English, learning the language is one part of that, but you also need to know the culture of communication. Eye contact. Do you shake hands with people or not? Okay, so this is all part of communication. You cannot separate language and take it out of culture. Language is a part of culture. So if you want to teach intercultural competence, one thing you're going to look at is culture and increasing your students' knowledge of other cultures. So what is culture? And it might be worth telling your students this. Culture means your behavior, beliefs and values. It's your language, it's your customs and traditions, well-known institutions and places in your country or area, things that you wear, things that you eat. In Taiwan, what you eat is very important in this culture, right? I mean, my colleagues talk about food at least half the time that they're in the office, I think, when they're not working, during break time. And of course, your everyday living practices. So that's what culture is. In Oxford Discover, there's a world map at the back, so you can see which countries and which cultures various stories and factual articles come from. Now, of course, to improve students' cultural knowledge, which is a part of intercultural competence, it helps to use materials with engaging information about other cultures. Most student course books now will have articles from other cultures, but if you want more, you can always expand with graded readers. At Oxford University Press, we have Oxford Read and Discover. From very early levels, students can read about art from different cultures, or festivals, or food, for example. And so you can choose titles at different levels to match your students' English and learn more about cultures from around the world. Here are some tips to improve your students' intercultural competence. First, as I've done with you, maybe it's worth explaining what culture means to your students. Then, especially before you read an article, say about a child's life in India, find out what your students know about India, and also find out what students know about your country. If you're going to read something about a girl's life at school in India, find out about your students' daily lives in Taiwan. Make students curious about other cultures. Part of intercultural competence isn't just knowing about other cultures, it's being curious. It's your attitude to learn about other people who are maybe similar or different from you in different ways. Something the teacher can do is to wonder out loud. I wonder if people in India or Canada drink milk tea, all right? And that can get students curious and want to read those articles. And then help students to find similarities and differences between a culture they know about and their own culture. So if you're reading about I don't know, what children do in their free time in Thailand. How about a Venn diagram? See what students know about Taiwan, read the article about Thailand, see what's the same, see what's different. And you know, one of the great things about learning about other cultures is that it helps you to learn about your own cultural identity. If you only ever know about Taiwan's culture, I think you don't really know anything. Because what does it mean on its own when you're inside your bubble? When you learn about different cultures and how they do things which are similar to what you do, or maybe very different, then it gives you a perspective and you think about your own culture and you learn to appreciate what's important to you, what you love about being Taiwanese, right? And what's unique about that. But the biggest piece of advice to help your students improve their intercultural competence is this. Share your enthusiasm for learning about countries and cultures. If you're going to read, let's say, a page about, I don't know, an elephant farm in Thailand, and you look at the student book and you do this, oh, whatever, yeah, let's just read this thing about elephants. You're hardly setting a good example for your students, are you? You've got to be enthusiastic. I wonder how they feed the elephants. I wonder where this is. Do we have something like this in Taiwan for different animals? That kind of thing. You're thinking out loud, inspiring your students to show similar curiosity. Social responsibility is part of citizenship. Now, this can be fairly simple. Don't drop litter in the park. But it can also benefit to get students thinking about issues around social responsibility. For example, how much we consume. What is something that you need versus something you want? In this story in Oxford Discover, a farmer learns to never sell something you need to buy something you want. And that's in a story. And also in the same topic, what you get is one fiction article or one fiction story and one non-fiction article. This is the non-fiction article about wants and needs. And so you can see how we're learning about society here. Who do we need? Some people have service jobs and students learn about police officers, doctors, teachers and how they help others. And that's related to society and social responsibility. Citizenship can also mean respect for diversity within our societies. Here, in Oxford Discover, we see a reading passage about families and friends. And this is focusing on families. Now, when I was a child at primary school, we used to think of families as, you know, mum and dad and son and daughter. But increasingly, families are not all like this, and we have to respect those who come from families which are a little bit different from ours. So I like here in Oxford Discover how we have Mandy. Mandy is 8. She lives with her brother, grandfather and grandmother, because that's what happens, right? Not all families are the perfect family that, you know, we used to kind of learn about in school. There is no perfect family. And increasingly, of course, we have single parent families. Kim is 6. Her family is small. She lives with her mother. Right, and so we hope to help students to respect that diversity within our societies, which is a crucial part of citizenship. Talking of respecting diversity, we have to get along with those who are different from us. Take a look at this reading. We have Leo the cat and Lily the bird. As students read, they think, how is Leo different from Lily? And you can see Leo is trying to eat Lily here. Then later think, how are Leo and Lily the same? And we learn to get over our differences and to become friends. Part 4 is over. It's time for me, life skills coach Mark Richard, to come in with the thinking break. So, pause. Breathe that fresh air. Read these questions and think about your answers. Maybe talk about them with other teachers. When you're finished, take another deep, relaxing breath and hit that play button to continue. So thank you. We're nearly finished. We've gone through all the sections of this video session. Now it's just time to reflect on everything. So I'm not going to tell you anything here except to remind you that there's lots of ideas that I have shared in this session, and just think about them. And you're never going to remember everything. So what are the most important things you want to remember and put into your teaching? Okay, I want to help you to adjust your sails to that wind and put that into your teaching. Now, if you would like to join a wider global community of English teachers, we have the Oxford English Learning Exchange. You see the website there. Please go there and you can talk to teachers around the world. It's free. But if you want to take part in research, we have opportunities, some of which is paid through Amazon points. So if you're interested, take a look. So at the beginning of this video, I shared my go the extra mile sentence with you. When you can't change the direction of the wind, what do? Adjust your sails. Okay, so think about how you're going to adjust your sails. Put more thinking, critical thinking and creativity into your lessons. Bring more intercultural competence skills and citizenship into your lessons. And it's all, for me, a natural part of teaching. Okay? Everyone, thank you so much. All the best in getting great for 108. Bye.